because of this stupid extradition treaty. I mean, they are so brainwashed. They are, they're absolutely, I think that, obviously we all know that there are a few Hong Kongers which the um, governments around the world have been paying off to start trouble. And a few of them probably started trouble, organizing a few gangs, and let's do this, let's do that, and it all escalated out of control. And
Yeah, I share this with you. There's a comment here as well by Single Speed B. I think I pronounced that right. He says CCTV didn't and never say any ugly words about the British. I have to kind of say that China's media should fight back more than what they do. If
yeah,
there's one
yeah,
thing that I would like to see the media here, as they're
mhm,
so polite. Most of them are
yeah,
so
yeah,
polite, or when they're reporting, they're trying to give as much factual base. Of course, there's going to be differences and
yeah.
different opinions, and I think this is wrong, I think that's wrong.
They are
You're
very
going to get
polite.
that,
Yeah.
but they need to hit back harder, and I think they're learning. Hopefully our
Yeah,
show, coming up on the weekends, Let's Talk China, is going to be able to get a massive
yeah.
audience, because we
I
got
think
to.
it's okay to speak your mind and hit back,
Hmm.
because the thing is, you see the US and the British doing all of this stuff. Like, for example, after the US decided to put this chip bill towards China, trying to destroy Chinese economy, but then you see articles in CGTN coming out on YouTube saying, "What is the future now of relations between the US and China?" Just nice stuff, nice headings. And when you listen to the interviews, everyone's been nice. Apart from a few, I think there's one or two people like Victor Gao and Iga Chanjun as well. They actually speak their mind. They say exactly how it is. But everyone else just seems to be just too nicey. I think there needs to be more people like Iga Tangen,
Mm,
and and uh, and also needs to be more people like you know Victor Gao as well. I think
mm,
Chinese, yeah, definitely they are learning to kind of speak up a bit. I think 20, 30 years ago, I remember the time when um, NATO bombed the Chinese embassy in Belgrade,
yeah.
and the Chinese said nothing. They were, yeah, they're quietly displeased about it, but I don't remember any Chinese media outlets speaking out against it at the time. I don't remember anyone saying anything at the time. It was fairly quiet, and I think
Right.
recently, I think everything changed in Alaska. There was a meeting in Alaska by Blinken, and he called up these Chinese, and he decided to show them off in front of the camera, and he started insulting them. And to his surprise, they all started fighting back.
Mm,
All the Chinese diplomats started fighting back against Blinken in Alaska, and that was quite. I think that was a turning point. And then obviously they have this name called Wolf Warrior. If a Chinese diplomat fights back or speaks his mind, he's called a Wolf Warrior, and that goes around um, the Western media as well. But I think things are slowly changing, Alex. But yeah, I still see too much nicey articles around in CGT and CCTV. But I think
yeah.
the only media outlet that I feel that is kind of speak their minds is Global Times,
Right.
but it is a written news article, not like a YouTube channel or anything like that.
I
Um,
think, just to put everybody's mind to rest, we will be relaunching this show. There's a lot of things that I don't want to talk about the show, because there are a lot of guests that you'll be quite surprised that are coming on the program. I think and they have said they will make the announcements on their channels. So I don't want to go into give too many things away of who's going to be on the channels. Some of the old names are definitely going to be back. The syndication, we are in discussion for that. It could be quite large if everything comes in line. The audience and the amount of numbers that will be watching this show are going to be staggering. And I hope it will pick up some serious speed here. There's something I wanted to talk to you guys about yesterday. Someone actually emailed me last night and they said, Alex, what are you talking about? When you were saying that in the United States that prisons are publicly traded companies, and they said I was full of it. Okay, they said I was absolutely full of it, and said I don't know what I'm talking about, and it was quite a nasty email, and I'm not going to read it, but it basically said, you'll say anything to try to get the upper hand. Well, I didn't have to really do this, but I'm going to show it on the program here today. Two of the biggest companies, CoreCivic and the Geo Group, are publicly traded in the correctional systems. However, less than 10% of state and federal inmates are in the care of private prisons. But I want you guys to have a look at how many people are incarcerated in the United States. Don't let that 10% figure really fool you, because that 10% figure is in the hundreds of thousands of people
It's the
that are
highest incarceration rate in the world.
right, that are incarcerated in publicly traded prison companies. Now, I think the average person can understand that a publicly traded prison wants to make profit, right? And the profitability comes from incarceration or terms of incarceration. And some of these companies allegedly use, of course, just like tobacco companies, lobbyists. And these lobbyists talk about time durations, sentences, should they be extended, or maybe longer sentences, which means more revenue for the bottom line. And that is an extraordinary figure. You guys can just Google that yourself. Google CoreCivic and the Geo Group. Actually, let's have some fun with this, okay? Let's have some fun with this. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can pull this
While
up
you're
on the screen
searching
here.
for that,
Sure.
Alex, the United States justice system is the most corrupt justice system in the world. It's not about right and wrongs. It's never about who's right, who's wrong, who's committed the crime, who's guilty, who's innocent. It's never about that. The only thing that matters is who's got money and who doesn't, who's rich and who's poor. Because if you have money, you can afford to pay your bail. You can afford to buy good lawyers to get you out. But if you're poor, you got no money, you can't pay for bail. You get sent to prison. You can't afford good lawyers, so you're getting these ridiculous sentences, and you're just stuck there. It's all about rich versus the poor, Alex. It's never about right and wrong.
In or out. You've said it right. Here is something that it deeply concerns me that I want our viewers to just look at for a moment here. This is a publicly traded company in the United States. Publicly traded as in it's trading on the stock market. Okay. CoreCivic, formerly the Corrections Corporation of America, is a company that owns and manages private prisons and detention centers and operates other on the concession basis. Okay. Look at the employees. How many employees there are? Can you see that number, AJ?
Yeah. Yep.
10,000 employees. And I like how they really downplayed that 10%, but that's 10,000 just employees. Okay. Subsidiaries, of course, Avalon Correctional Services, et cetera, et cetera. Have a look at the revenue.
Yep.
This is just one company. This is big business. Revenue of 1.98 billion US dollars. That is a staggering amount of company for a publicly traded company. Doesn't that make you just feel ill? That knowing that if somebody goes to jail, that some of them are run publicly?
Yep.
Do you think that this is for a non-profit organization? This is run. I don't even have any words for this. That's one of the companies. Go on, AJ.
I think one of the ways they make money is probably a lot of people don't realize this is slave labor. The United
Absolutely, AJ.
United States likes to paint the picture of, forced labor or slave labor in China. But with the United States, they try and blame other countries the crimes they do themselves. So United States has got the biggest, you know, they got the highest incarceration rate, but they make money through forced labor. So these prisoners are, to reduce the sentencing, they have to work for free or literally pennies, um, around USA, whether it's infrastructure programs or businesses and stuff, and these companies make a profit from it. And while
Hmm.
these prisoners, they don't get paid for it. They basically have to do it to reduce their sentencing, or maybe even if they want to bring parole in an earlier for good behavior and things like that. And it's all about making money, and this is how they make money out of these prisoners. Nobody, so they give them jobs, and these companies give these companies money. They don't have to pay the employees, because these prisoners, they're just slaves, really, slave labor, for forced labor. And you know, this is knowledge that's, this is absolute what's happening in United States. You just have to Google it, incarceration, forced labor in USA, and you'll see it actually does happen. It's happened, and if you have a huge rate of incarceration, of people, you have a huge amount of people that are there to kind of work for free,
Hmm.
for forced labor, and this is what United States does. They love to do all of these things. They'd love to talk about human rights against other countries, against China and stuff like that. But they have the worst human rights record in the world. They have the worst, incarceration rate in the world. They have forced labor. They have slave labor. They do everything under the book, but they like to accuse other countries of doing what they're doing. And this is what the
Yeah.
United States is all about.
This really frustrates me because, you know, I spend endless hours researching and digging into this stuff. And we are going to turn over some very interesting stories here coming up on our weekend shows. But here's another example here, the Geo Group. The Geo Group is a publicly traded corporation that invests in private prisons and mental health facilities in the United States. I'm laughing at that. North America, Australia, South Africa, and the United Kingdom. Okay. CEO, all right. Revenue, 2.25 billion last year. Okay. Headquarters in Boca Raton. But I'm not done with that, guys. I'm not done there. Not even close with these characters. Because this just shows you, you know, free country, my ASS. Let's continue with these characters. And as AJ reported earlier, Geo Group faces lawsuits over alleged use of forced labor at immigration detention centers. The group has been accused of relying on cheap and unpaid labor by detained immigrants and is facing several lawsuits allegedly that voluntarily work programs at their facilities violate state minimum wage laws. Several people are currently or formerly living in detention have allegedly that they were threatened if they didn't work and worried they could not afford basic commissary items without performing labor for GEO.
Exactly.
I mean,
You see, Alex,
it's right
slavery still
there.
exists. Modern
Where
slavery still exists. People don't realize it exists in the
where's the
United States.
inquiry? Where's the inquiry? We seen the inquiry in Xinjiang area. Where's the inquiry here?
Yeah,
Where is it?
exactly.
Where
Yep.
is it? It should be this weekend. Let's have an inquiry about it. I mean, this is a
You,
publicly traded company using, you know, this is just one of their lawsuits. I mean, let's see what else these characters have been up to. I mean, they are probably funding. Okay, I'm just reading here. The GEO group, which runs, get this, guys. I'm going to read this to you. Which runs ICE detention centers in Aurora, can't be shielded from the there's a class action lawsuit going on. The court denied the motion to decertify a 40,000 person lawsuit against GEO. 40,000. Okay, 40,000 people.
yep.
It just leaves you speechless.
I think it's 40,000 people who actually stood up and put their
Yeah.
names down. But imagine how many hundreds of thousands of people who have not put their names down, who are probably still in prison with no rights. The 40,000 people who are probably, these are probably who came out of prison, and they probably realized that they've had a really tough deal or bad luck. But imagine how many people who have not reported this, who have not put their names down or signed up to this.
It just blows my mind. And do they use lobbyists? Well, we're going to bring that up on my next podcast. Do they use lobbyists to persuade judges to have longer sentences for people that are in prison? I mean, it's completely, I'm without words. Yeah, a bit shocking. Let's go out on a positive note. I mean, let's go out on a positive note. The good news is we've got a few more days here in the Congress here in China here, the 20th CPC National Congress. We got some great news coming out. China is going to play a greater role in global environmental governance. I hope that we will get some more news. We didn't really get too much news on the dynamic COVID policy. We do see some loosening of some regulations here in Hong Kong. But yeah, over to you, AJ.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, Alex, but
No, please go.
looks like there is a press conference in 2 minutes in Downing
Yeah,
Street, and I think
let's go
Liz
have a look.
Truss will probably announce her resignation.
Go
She'll
have
be
a look.
quitting in literally 2 minutes. So I think we probably have a absolute breaking news
Okay,
live.
moment.
So if you go to BBC, it'll tell you like the next press conference is
Yeah.
out.
Okay, one sec.
So it looks like she's probably out of there, to be honest. Because why else would you hold a press conference only for important matters? So she's gonna come out and she's gonna probably quit. She's probably been forced to quit or something. Giving her a nice paycheck, saying, right, we'll give you this money, just quit, just leave with your head held high.
Mm.
You know what? One thing about the CPC Congress that I love, Alex. I love my
Mhm.
architecture projects and stuff like that. I love my mega projects. Has there
Right.
been any mega projects announced, new major projects or anything like that? Or
They're continuing on with the Chongqing new area, and they've opened up the train station there. Lot of stuff, a lot of updates have been on that area. That's a major project. That's
yeah,
going on for
yeah,
decades.
that's
Um,
that's that's like $500 billion is costing them. It's a
Big money, of
completely new city. But you know what? They're going to make that money back, Alex. They will
course.
easily make the money back because one thing that stops a city from growing, right, is population. And
Mhm.
Beijing is so overpopulated. People have to wait hours on traffic. There's just too many people. But if you alleviate that population, Beijing's GDP will shoot up, Zhongang's population will shoot up, and their GDP is going to shoot up, and that's just going to be great for the Chinese economy. So you have basically two cities next to each other, building up their GDPs. And I think if Zhongang is successful, there's going to be quite a few other cities popping up in around China over the next few years. And Alex, one of the reasons Zhongang is possible is because of the water diversion project. And
Mhm.
they, the problem
Sponge
with
City.
yeah, the problem that China's been having all these years is the southern part of China has always had a lot of water, excess water, and it's always flooding and stuff. But the northern part of China, there's never enough water, and this is why there's not many cities around Beijing. Because you know northwest you have the Gobi Desert, and it's very dry and arid. There's not enough water. This is why populations or cities have not been growing in around Beijing, especially around the north and northwest area. All that has changed now, Alex, because now they've built the south to north diversion water projects.
Mm-hmm.
There is billions and billions of tons of water being diverted from southern parts into the northern parts, and this allowed cities like Zhong'an to be created. Because if you see what they're doing in Zhong'an, they it is the main artery for the southern to northern parts of the water diversion, and they're also building Zhong'an as like a sponge city. They are building all of these lakes around the city as well. They are building water conservation projects around it. Water is a very important commodity, and I think because of this southern to northern water diversion project, they will be building other cities around Beijing as well. I was speaking to one guy who actually used to work in the construction area, and he says that once Zhong'an is finished, and don't forget, Zhong'an is a long project. It's going to complete in 2029, I believe it's due for completion.
Mm-hmm.
But already people are obviously moving in. But 2029 is due for completion. And they are still working on this southern to northern part water diversion project. The main part is finished, but what they're building now are branches to link to different cities and things like that. They are still building that. And there is a western part of this project as well, still yet to be built for the western part of China. And once this water, infrastructure thing has been set up, you will see 2 or 3 more cities like Zhong'an popping up around Beijing. So once Zhong'an is ready and available, this will be like an example city, a modern smart city. How every single Chinese city should be like a sponge city, smart city. And then they will use that template to build 3 more. And apparently there's plans to build 3 more around Beijing.
Yep. Here we go.
Once
Sorry to
Zhong'an
interrupt.
is finished.
I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent. And our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
Yep.
This morning, I met the chairman of the 1922
You heard it from me. Ours. I said ours.
We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen.
Again. Wow. Yep. Wow.
Yep.
Guys, I'm absolutely speechless on that one. The door is closed on number 10 Downing Street, and there you have it. Podium's been removed, and wow. I mean, what can I say?
Whoever comes in, Alex, is gonna probably do the same job or even worse, because it's not the prime minister. It's basically the policies. If they don't change their policies, especially around Russia, Ukraine, China, even things are gonna get worse. And we are not even heading to the worst part of the economy right now. I mean, we are just starting.
Yeah.
It's not even winter yet. imagine what things are going to be like when it gets really cold around January. That's when shit really will hit the fan.
It's staggering. This is the third prime minister the United Kingdom has had in what, 6 months, right? Less than that? 6 months? Boris?
Third, but this is the fifth prime minister in 2 years. Fifth. So we started with David Cameron. He quit after Brexit, and then his replacement was a young lady. I can't remember her name now. I can't remember her name, but then she got replaced. She quit, and she got replaced by Boris, and now you have Liz Truss. So yeah, we had 5. Obviously, counting the person before David Cameron as well. So yeah, 5 in like 2 years. It's crazy. No, not 2 years. I mean, not 2 years. I mean, 5 years. 5 in 5 years.
I'm just without words here. I don't know where they're going with this. I mean, where are they going with this? I mean, who's next? Who's next?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's next? I mean, it's crazy.
I don't know who wants to take this job. I don't know who's brave enough to take it. Whoever will take it is basically gonna have to jump in the frying pan.
So she's staying on until a successor is found. Well, that's interesting. Okay, thanks. AJ, is this the Guinness World Record of short-lived PMs? How long was John Major in?
No, John Major was in for a long time. He was there for 8 years or something.
No.
This is the Guinness Book of Records for the shortest prime minister. Yeah, it is.
But how long was Major in for?
Major, I think he was in for 8 years.
No way.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah,
let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's see.
Let me Google it.
As PM?
Yeah, as PM. Yeah, John Major.
Or maybe I got him mixed up with someone else. Major. I think I've got him mixed up with someone else then. Anyway, maybe everyone can help us out here.
John Major was the longest, one of the longest, I think. I think you mean someone else. I think you meant there was another lady after David Cameron. She didn't last long.
No, you're not talking Theresa May, are you?
Yeah, Theresa May. Yeah, she lasted like just over a year or something, or maybe.
The prime minister for the total shortest period in office was George Canning, whose sole the term lasted 119 days from April 12th. Okay, that's going all the way back into 1827. Here we go. Yeah, we got some. Okay, we got. Somebody's put a list up here. So 3. Okay, here we go. You guys will like this. Liz Truss has got it. 44 days. Number 1.
Of course.
They have disputed a couple of names. The Earl of Bath. That's in 1746. But let's just say so. Number 2 was George Canning, 119 days. Let's see. Any other notable names? We got to go deep down into the list for this. Gordon Brown, 2 years, 300. Gordon Brown, 2 years, 318 days. Theresa May lasted 3 years, 11 days. Boris Johnson, 3 years, 44 days. Wow, Liz, 44. Get your Liz Truss 44 jerseys. Get them on. Put them on. Get in there.
She's not going to talk tough on China anymore, is she? I remember when before she became prime minister, she was being really tough on China. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna put China as a threat. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna have an Asian NATO. Blah blah blah."
We did see something interesting. When she was